Sage, welcome. So I would like to open it up just for whoever it is that would like to share what these last 2 weeks have been like. If there's anything in particular that you're feeling physically, emotionally. I was telling Barbara we're having a lot of coronal mass ejections and solar flares. That's a tremendous amount of light hitting the earth, hitting our bodies, and a lot of people are complaining of the symptoms of headaches and fatigue, vertigo. Barbara and I were commiserating about these waves of nausea that have been coming, and just needing more rest, needing more downtime.
A little dizzy.
A little dizzy. Vertigo is, sleep problems. So I'm just wondering if anyone would like to share how you're feeling. And 2 weeks ago, we spoke about the new moon, actually 4 weeks. 4 weeks ago, the new moon in Aries, unbelievable where this month went, and that we had a Chiron conjunction. So I was discussing that the wound was likely to be triggered, possibly be triggered for some of us, all of us, and just wondering if that happened to any of you and just how you're doing.
So, Lee, that's interesting. You're saying yes, at this time, the deep wound could be triggered and revealed.
Absolutely.
From Chiron.
Yes.
That makes
sense.
So
if you want to just nod your heads, if anyone has had that experience this last month of a triggering of a certain deep wound that needed to be, yes, Phyllis, I see, Ava. Okay, I know I've had something come up, the deepest wounding. That was even before my conscious memory, and that came up. And as the eclipse season has begun, there's been a complete break from these people that were very close for my whole life. So a complete ending and an absolute ending.
Wow.
And that's
Lee,
what
before I think
yes,
we're going to go into it. So I just want to say quickly to everyone, thank you for being here. We're so blessed to have Lee share so much wisdom and intuition. And I think already I feel better knowing about the wound explains the intensity of it all. But I also want to say that Lee is accepting loving donations. You could send to Lee or to me, and they all go to Lee's charity for climate.
Yes.
To try to keep this planet alive. So they could send it to you, Lee, right? Sure. Or to me. Yes. I know someone sent something to me already, and I will get that over to Lee. If you want to be anonymous, just send it to me, and I'll just send it in a big, I'll put my email up. I'll just send it in a lump payment. And if not, that's fine. There's no pressure at all. So enjoy. And I'm going to mute because I have the dogs that could start up. Okay.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for hosting these Astro Currents together. I feel like we have a momentum after doing this for a few months, and a sisterhood. I don't see any men, and I haven't seen any. I don't know if we've had any since we began. But that's just how it is these days. As the Dalai Lama says, he said it numerous times, it is Western women that will save the world. So I feel such a sense of truth about that. And wherever I go and whoever comes, to see me, it's usually women. We're usually women who are very interested in understanding the times and also understanding how to apply these very powerful energies on the planet now, these planetary forces, these energies, how to apply them in a positive way, in a constructive way. because we see so much destruction, so much deconstruction, and that's what these times are. They are a falling away, a dying of the old. And that's a very painful process, you know, to witness dying and to be part of it. And simultaneously, there's a rebirth. So there's a dying, there's a rebirth, and it's a very, very deep and a profound cycle that we're in, with so many planets having extra potency in terms of demanding change. It isn't really a choice. Like, we must change. Personally, collectively, our structures must change. Our intentions, our values, all undergoing huge, huge changes, fundamental changes, things that may have been very important 2-3 years ago, may have no meaning whatsoever.
Unknown caller.
So on that note, I would like to welcome you all, welcome us all.
And Lee, I have the chat up, and Erica, I know I just don't want these things to go. I put down about a donation, guys. You could email me if it feels good, no pressure. And Erica, I don't know if you want to say it, I could say it for you, but I just want you to be heard. Erica says the intensity lately is a deep anger. I'm fed up at the inequality of wealth and mistreatment of queer people and oppression of, oh, background noise. Okay, BIPOC. Why am I not? What is that? And the war in the Ukraine. It's infuriating, painful, and it feels more global than personal. Should I be so embarrassed? I don't know what BIPOC is. Sorry, guys.
Does anyone, Erica, BIPOC?
Erica, can you type it in the chat?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so it means Black, Indigenous, people of color. So it kind of is an umbrella term for all people of color and Indigenous people.
Oh, thank you. So you're saying something very important, Erica. I feel like, I mean, I know you and I know your chart, and I know how sensitive you are to global currents. And that is the feeling, that it's the feeling of this cannot continue anymore. This has to stop. This has to change. And we're reaching like a fever pitch. And we're really coming to maximum pressure. And that is the pressure that's needed to change, to kind of push us into this next era, this next paradigm, this next 2,000-year cycle known as the Aquarian age, where the very thing you're describing, Erica, you know, the desire to have everyone have opportunity and equality and justice, and where the love and compassion rule, right? And we don't have 5 white men and whatever grouping thereafter that controls everything on one level. So that's the level, that's the structural level that is really needing to break down. And our anger, our outrage, I feel it's essential. I feel as women especially, you know, have been trained to be nice and not to make waves and, you know, kind of just be in the background. I think it's vital that we connect with that energy. That's our Mars, that anger. That's our gumption, that's our drive. That's the energy that has us move forward and take action. So I say, listen to that anger, honor the anger, and then take right action. You know, where we can all take steps, actionable steps, even if they're small, they're potent. And when enough people take small steps, then it's like a leap. We all leap forward. And with Uranus so potent in the sky now, And I'll just bring in the eclipse, which we are now in the eclipse season. The actual partial Taurus new moon solar eclipse happens at 13 minutes after midnight tonight. So early in the morning. It's the Taurus new moon partial solar eclipse. So it's not a complete solar eclipse. So it lessens the intensity of it, but there's so much intensity going on with the planets that I don't really think we're going to notice it lessening. Because that's what eclipses do, is they raise the energy, they raise the stakes, they raise the vibration so that we can leave something behind and move into something new. That's ideally how we can use eclipses, that there is an intention, our strong intentions for our life, for the earth, for others, that we focus on that. This is a new moon. These are the seeds. This is the seed sowing time. So with the new moon in Taurus, now depending on where Taurus is located in your personal chart, that is where those new seeds will be sown and sprouted. So if anybody wants to know that, just contact me. I'll get your chart and I'll show you where it is, just as a gift. So let's just talk a little bit about what Taurus is. Taurus is our values. Taurus is our self-esteem. Taurus is our security, our physical security, our money, the house we live in, the food we eat. The question with Taurus is, do we have enough to be self-sufficient? Do we have enough to meet our physical and security needs? That's the real fundamental question with Taurus. So during this time, many people may be having big shifts in terms of where they live, how they make money, what values are important, and even there's an opportunity to shift from a certain low self-esteem state that I feel like so many women, especially sensitive ones, have suffered from. And this low self-esteem state, because the sun and moon are together in Taurus, with Uranus right next to them, 4 degrees away, very close, there's a chance to really like break out, break through, just break from the old pattern of not feeling good enough, not feeling like I have enough, not, it's the enough. Do I have enough? Am I enough? It's all the enoughs. And we have yes? We have an opportunity to actually know that, number one, we are enough, that we are even more than enough. Uranus is our cosmic identity. So with Uranus so close to the sun and moon in Taurus, we have a chance of knowing like a new identity, not identifying with this, physical mortal coil that's subject to, headaches and nausea and solar flares and everything. We have a chance to shift vibrationally and to experience ourselves in a different place. And that place is a place of deep peace, knowing, and stability, knowing that our connection, that our true wealth is not out there. Our true wealth exists here. So this time is also a time of turning in with Taurus. Taurus, we look at ourselves. We look at ourselves honestly. And with Uranus, we look at ourselves with these new eyes from this shifted identity as cosmic citizens. Many of us may be feeling that we have starseed connections, that we're not human, that we're more Pleiadian, Arcturian, Lyran. Many people are feeling their star heritage, their star system heritage. This new moon and solar eclipse allows us to shift into that. A sudden, Uranus works quantum, sudden, unexpected shifts. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? So there can be some real magic to this new moon. There's also with Mars making so many beautiful aspects in the chart. Mars in Pisces is the spiritual warrior, that we connect to our own spiritual warriorhood, and that we have the courage. Mars is about courage and bravery and anger and aggression and impatience, all of that. It's a fire planet. In aspect to the planets, in an aspect that it aspects, it provides the courage and bravery that we need to step out. Uranus says, step out of your comfort zone, step out of the box that we all have. We've all created. Some boxes are bigger than others, but boxes nonetheless, unless we're enlightened, and then that's a beautiful thing. But until then, we have these boxes. And Uranus and Mars and the whole profile of this new moon create a condition for utter shift. Utter shift. I would suggest a willingness. When we cooperate with the universe, when we let the universe know, I'm available for the shift, I'm available for the movement into another identity, a greater identity, an identity that will help us through this time. Because instead of feeling like we have to survive this time, we humans have to survive this very tough time on Earth. We come in as these cosmic ambassadors, and we say, wait a minute, I actually have a role to play here. And each one, I would say, on this call has a role to play here. This new moon will help us to identify that role more easily. Now, understand that eclipses have a 6-month cycle. So this is going to unfold in the next 6 months. So open to the space that things are going to change, that you are going to change, that there is going to be, think of simplicity, the simplicity of the heart. The more simple we can live, the better. The more we can pare down, and the more we can simplify our own desires and even our own needs. You know, what are our true needs versus like, I need to watch 3 hours of Netflix a night. You know, maybe I don't. Maybe that's not a true need. So it's a good time to look at that. What are our true needs? That's also Taurus. And to really own it. You know, Taurus is owning our sovereignty, owning our I amness. You know, Aries, the fire sign of creation, lands in Taurus, our bodies. I'm reminded of a beautiful quote by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, a Buddhist master, who used to say, you know, when we meditate, we sit and we take our seat as the Buddha. We take our seat, we let our bodies be the temple that houses this creative force, this Buddha nature, this awakened life energy that exists in every being. And he would let us know, like, sit down and intentionally take your seat as the Buddha, as the divine being that you are, and let your body, Taurus, be the temple for that divinity. So there's a way of looking at our bodies now as temples. And not only like, what foods do I need to, you know, to get my protein and low carb so I don't get fat and that, but really to say, we've got it. This is our temple. And what does this temple need so that our divinity can have the greatest expression, can have the greatest health, vitality? Be the greatest conduit for spirit. Because that's it. That is it. This year, we become conduits of spirit. That's the potential of consciously knowing we are that we are spirit, and living from that place and providing for the world. Like, I feel like we're midwives. You know, any of us who are conscious at this time and deeply care that we're midwiving the planet, we're midwiving the collective consciousness. We're holding steady. We're helping to keep a certain flow, a certain direction. And if that's all we do, maintain our peace, maintain our deep desire to find security within, and then to find our place in the world. It's about contribution. Once we know what's really important here, what we need personally, then we can actually contribute in great ways, in little and great ways. It doesn't have to be great. The littlest thing done with love is a tremendous act. So Taurus brings us into the present moment. It says, look around, see, smell, hear, taste, touch. Become aware with your senses. Uranus at this time next to the sun and moon in Taurus is a heightening of the senses. We could be tasting more, seeing more, brighter colors, vivid light. Just notice the senses in the next several months. There may be an acuteness, a certain quality, a change in the senses. But that's not only, it's not just about a better sensual experience on Earth. The way this Uranus works, it's an awakening, so that through our senses we perceive divinity, we perceive spirit, we perceive life, that our day-to-day interactions, our moments are filled with love, are filled with intention. That's what's possible during this time, where we live in the garden. Taurus is the garden. We can create the garden for ourselves, for our loved ones, for our animals, for our neighbors, for our community, for our friends, for the world. We can create our own gardens right where we are. Taurus is also our home. So this is the focus. So not to worry. A friend mentioned earlier that she felt like kind of stuck, like, you know, not really able to move. And many of us can be feeling that because the work is inner now. This year, the work is really inner. And whatever we can contribute to the world, marvelous. But the focus is here, is really being clear on what it is that we want, what it is that who we are, what it is that we're about, and how we wish to live. How do we live our life moment to moment? What's important? So the eclipse is saying, out you go, out something goes, and in something comes. So let's take a moment to just focus on what that in something comes may be. with all these planets in Pisces and Taurus. Most of the planets are in Pisces and Taurus. Both signs are feminine, deeply feminine. Taurus is earth, Pisces is water. So think of those two together, earth and water. Well, if you have too much water, of course, that's not good. But if you have just enough water, the earth is abundant. The earth yields abundantly. Given a modicum of a chance without human beings interfering, the earth is an amazing garden, prolific with life and with what we need. So we have a deep yin energy, a receptive energy. So what do we do with a lot of yin planets? We become receptive. We become quiet. We slow down with Taurus. With Pisces, we listen. We listen to what's beyond, even, the body. We listen to what can be heard when we quiet, when we become quiet, when we become still. So to the best ability, to our best ability during this next 2 weeks, especially, cultivate times of stillness and receiving. I remember our Buddhist teachers would remind us often of consciously keeping our cups faced up, like, keeping our cups upward so that we're receiving blessings, we're receiving bounty, we're receiving gifts that are and there are many beautiful gifts being presented with this new moon. There's gifts of inspiration. There's gifts of love and compassion, gifts of unity, feeling oneness, having the experience of it. So beautiful. And out of that, all that Taurus energy is the builder. Taurus builds, right? It builds the house, it builds the garden, it builds everything it needs so it can survive. But it really likes to build. So this combination of inspiration, compassion, love, with what it is that we're here to build. Uranus is our future. We are building our future with this eclipse. Aspirations create our future. If we don't have aspirations, then our future becomes whatever, But with clear aspirations, we actually can create our future. So again, I recommend, I suggest that we sit and intend what are our aspirations, and then intend them each day, speak them, think about them, talk about them with somebody you care about, expand them. This is a new beginning. This has the potential. It's like the new world is created here. It's so powerful, it's so lovely, it's so beautiful, and it's very fine. It's very subtle. And we can miss it. We can just go through the next 6 months and go, what? Did something happen? Because how could we miss it? We could miss it if we keep too busy. If we don't create space, mental space. If we don't slow down. If people have a hard time meditating, just go into the garden or put feet on earth. Listen to music. Music is so powerful these days to help us to shift from a worried, because there's so much worry on the planet now, so much fear, emanating, coming off of, media and valid stuff. but it's so big in our consciousness. So let that recede, let the world recede, and let our aspirations really get big. Uranus, it's like getting on a jet. You know, you take whatever you want. Oh, I definitely want this. I want my seeds for my garden. I want my animal. I want my best friends, because that jet is taking off and is taking us to a new place. So we want to be on that jet. We want to be ready for this acceleration. I have a feeling in 6 months, we're going to be looking at each other saying, oh my gosh, what just happened? New inventions, Uranus, innovations, technology, new things that have been in the works for a while, but are going to become public. Things that we're going to say, wow, this is great. This is wonderful. Networks of people, communities that are doing things, that are creating new structures for humanity. And then we ourselves are creating our own structures that are good for us. We're not just following 5-day working. I hope nobody here is, but if you are, I did, so I can really empathize. Working 5 days a week from 8:30 to 5:30 or whatever those hours are. That's, ungoddessly at this point. Our physical needs are important. When we meet our physical needs, we create the foundation that we need physically to hold all of this light, to hold all of this accelerated motion, this energy. So do take good care of yourself, your bodies, your minds, your hearts. Very, very important that we stay in the heart as much as possible. There's a very powerful T-square with Saturn at the head and the north and south node at the 2 other points. So whenever we have a T-square, we have tremendous tension. And Saturn is where our work is. We have to work there. And Saturn is saying, you got to make a choice here. You have to choose whether you're going to do it the old way or whether you're going to try a new way. Now, Saturn likes the old, just to give you a hint on which side Saturn lands. Even though Saturn is in Aquarius, which is Aquarius, the sign of the future, Saturn likes to keep things the way they are. So there needs to be more of a conscious choice when we see clearly, oh, we could do it the old way, or we could try something new. I would say 9 times out of 10, try something new, or however many you can, try something new, because Uranus rewards experimentation. It rewards really being like your genius, unique, eccentric, unusual self. Uranus wants us to be our wild selves that maybe we've never even shown ourselves yet. So open up to the bubbling, to the newness. When you're with people, you feel safe. Experiment, try something new, a new expression, a new way. Very much recommended. The other thing I want to mention is it's a dwarf planet called Albion. Albion, A-L-B-I-O-N. It used to be known as 1992 QB1. It was discovered in 1992, which is why it's called that at the beginning. And it was the first dwarf planet to be discovered in what is called the Kuiper belt. It's a whole belt, a part of the sky that is outside of the orbit of Neptune. And in 1992, we developed the technology to be able to see into the Kuiper belt. And this is the largest planet in that belt, Albion. And I just feel so, I feel such a comfort knowing that Albion is in the picture. Albion is at 11 degrees Taurus. So the sun and moon are at 10 degrees Taurus, Albion is 11 degrees Taurus, and Uranus 14 degrees Taurus. So why do I feel good with Albion? Why do I want to tell you about Albion? She's a feminine essence, she's a feminine energy, and she really is the midwife. She's the one who holds space for the transformation to happen. But unlike the planet Pluto, which forces change, it's the cosmic steamroller. Pluto just rolls over you and says, you gotta change, and it hurts a lot. Often with Pluto, it hurts. Not so with Albion. Albion says, I am holding a space allowing you in your own time to change. But just by virtue of her presence, she is heightening that change. She is like a chrysalis, you know, for the caterpillar. She provides that space. Can somebody mute, please? Thank you. So with Albion there, I'm feeling like we have a support. Because the planet Uranus can be shocking, it can be abrupt, it can be shattering, it can shatter a life, it can shatter a country. It's not an easy energy, oftentimes, Uranus. It wants change, it needs change. But with Albion, it says, you know what? I'm providing a space. So that shock, that power doesn't overwhelm us. That we're able to use it, and in that space metamorphise, in that space have that transformation. So and there's something very loving about her, like a midwife, you know, there's a care. So that's present in the cosmos now that we can tap into and feel as we're being urged to change. So I'm just checking the time because I don't want to overdo it here. Let me just exit the full screen so I see what time it is.
I think at the end,
Okay.
we had some newcomers, so, you know, maybe we could, I mean, keep going. Everyone's really interested, but maybe at the end we could do a kind of consolidation of the, you know, the bullet points.
A wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to move now to the full moon in Scorpio on May 16th at 13 minutes after midnight. Oh, wait a minute. I made a mistake. That Taurus, I'm sorry, the new moon in Taurus, it is actually at 4:27 a.m. tomorrow morning, 4:27. And then the full moon on May 16th, do write this down, because this full moon is a total lunar eclipse, complete lunar eclipse, very powerful. And that one occurs at 13 minutes after midnight on the 16th. And that's going to last 19 minutes. Wow. It's sitting on the south node. This is really about letting go. Full moons are release times. They're high emotion times. In Scorpio, the highest emotion, I mean, Scorpio is the deepest emotional sign. So when we have a full moon, total lunar eclipse in Scorpio, that is going to be exceptionally powerful for us to release and let go and purge. We're purging beliefs, we're purging old patterns, we're purging, the shadow. What is the shadow in Scorpio? Jealousy, anxiety, fear, whatever is stuffed, that whatever feelings we feel we can't face, we don't want to face, we know that may be brought up. I mean, this full moon has that potential to bring up what has been stuffed and purge, clear, release, let go. So understanding that, usually it is a triggering that brings these old patterns to the fore. So again, pay attention to triggerings and know that you have a choice. And I would even write it down like a few days before this full moon, is like, be mindful of triggerings. Know that I have a choice. And that choice is not to follow, because Scorpio takes us really into the rabbit hole of angst and like, oh my gosh, it's just terrible, horrible. We go deeper and deeper into it, and before you know it, we're smack dab in that hole and thinking, how the heck now do I get out? See if we can avoid that. And instead, if we have a triggering, identify the triggering, whatever, notice what this old habit, pattern, belief, putrid thing that needs to go now. No judgment, at all. And then make a choice. Choose to breathe, to center, to ground, to have self-love. Because usually when the Scorpio stuff comes up, there's a lot of agitation, a lot of self-loathing associated. Anyone who I know who has Pluto prominent in the chart, that self-loathing is a habit that needs to be cleared in the life. So don't be surprised if these very primal experiences come up. Don't feel like, oh, this again, what's the matter with me? What's going on? You have been forearmed. You know that expect something to come up, and then make the choice to take some space, ground, center, breathe, come back to self-love, peace, space. That's all Taurus. You're coming into a different energy, a much more stable energy. The Scorpio on the South Node is the past karma that our whole world is dealing with. So it's big. But then when we experience it personally, it also feels big. So try not to get, and then if we do get kind of tossed by it and knocked down, no problem. Whenever we notice it, pick ourselves up, stand up and breathe and ground and center, right? We can always do that. Another thing that's very, very prominent at this full moon is the fact that Jupiter is now in Aries. Jupiter is at 0 degrees Aries during this full moon. 0 degrees Aries is the Aries point. That is the beginning of the astrological cycle. Starts at 0 degrees Aries and it goes to 29 degrees, 30 degrees Pisces. And that's the whole cycle with 12 signs in between. So Jupiter, the planet of blessings, of expansion, of grace, of growth, of help. We're being given help. In Aries, it's a new beginning. Something new is wanting to be born. Jupiter also has to do with travel, anything foreign. It has to do with higher education and going beyond what we know. Hence, it's known, psychedelics, fall into this category because that takes us into an area, into places that we, haven't been before. Farther, farther. Always Jupiter wants us to go farther, farther. And in Aries, it wants us to start something new. So again, if you know where Jupiter at 0 degrees Aries is in your chart, in that area of the chart, that's where the new beginning will want to happen. But just suffice it to say that for all of us, this Jupiter in Aries, this is a new 12-year cycle because Jupiter takes a year in each sign, and there's 12 signs to the zodiac. So Jupiter just finished up in one of its favorite signs, Pisces, endings, and now it's 0 degrees Aries. Wow, it is a propulsion. It is like a, like something taking off, a real movement in the life, something new taking root that wants to grow. So, pay attention to where that is. We may already have inklings of what it is that we want to do, what we want to start new in our life, even new beliefs, new habits. If it's in the 2nd house, it's new habits. If it's in the 9th house, it's new beliefs. If it's in the 7th house, maybe new relationships. 11th house, new groups, but something new where we're going to grow and expand, and it's going to feel good. Okay. The other thing I want to point out about this full moon in Scorpio, there are a lot of contacts that it makes to other planets, meaning that there's because it makes such a strong contact, this full moon in Scorpio, such a strong contact to Scorpio, the ruler of, Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio. So Pluto plays a significant role in this Scorpio new moon. Full moon. Sorry, I think it's the solar flares, my little brain. Let me start that again. Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, is making prominent aspects to the moon, to the sun, to other planets, meaning that this Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse has a strong Pluto signature, which means that it's going to be revolutionary. It's going to be truly transformative. It may feel unraveling. It may feel really bad. It may have a physical purging quality, emotional purging quality. Use that day, if you can take that day or some of that day to just allow for whatever needs to move. Because of the Taurus signature, use our bodies, movement, use our voice, sound. Taurus rules the throat. So we want to move this energy. This energy that comes up is not meant to be held. It's not meant to be analyzed. We're very acquainted with this energy. It is meant to be purged and released and let go. So to whatever degree, to the best degree that we can do that, we will make room for the next new moon cycle, and we'll be following the imperative of the cosmos, which is saying we must change, we must let go, we must release, we must purge, we must risk, we must experiment, we must explore new territory. It's not a time to be looking back. It's a time to be really investigating and exploring what needs to go, what no longer applies what's no longer relevant to who we are and what we're about right now, and then to plant our seeds for the future. What do we want? What do we love? Who do we want to be doing things with? Start to envision. Very powerful visioning time. The next 2 weeks, and then the full moon is the completion and the release, major release for 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks is a building, a growing. The second 2 weeks is a purging, letting go, with Jupiter there saying, we're not releasing everything because there's things growing. So let's look to see what's growing. And we're purging what needs to be purged, and we're focusing on what needs to grow. And we're giving that our energy. We're giving that our attention. So it's a very future-oriented new moon. We're really planning for the future. We're shifting into future gear this new moon tomorrow with Uranus so close to the moon and the sun. And just to have an overview for this year, I feel this year is perhaps the most difficult of the 20-year cycle. I see from 2012 to 2032, that 20-year cycle, we're right in the middle of it now at 2022. So it started at 2012 and finishing at 2032. This particular cycle that we're in, this is probably the most transformative 20 years in the last, I don't know, 6,000. It's that significant. It's that important. It's that transformative. Now this year, 2022, the fallout after the pandemic, and now with war breaking out and everything that we're dealing with, the earth changes, the climate crises. This is a tough year. This really requires a tremendous amount of courage and stability, where we keep holding steady and saying, all right, even though it looks like things are really falling apart, I know this is necessary to make space for the new to come. So it can feel unnerving this year. Like, when is it going to stop? When is it going to change? When is it going to end? When is it going to start? And really kind of feeling chaos and confusion, and then leaps of like clarity and inventions and things that like, oh wow, we really are moving, but then more chaos. And so it's that this year, expect that that's going to be the case, which requires us to stabilize and get stronger within. So the good news is, starting 2024, when Pluto goes into Aquarius and Saturn is in Pisces, it's a very, very, very different tone. And I think we're going to actually see things manifesting, things that we're wanting, things that we're holding so dear for this world, for ourselves, for others. I think in 2024, we're going to start to see it really manifesting. So for the moment, there's almost like a faith walk that's required. It's like, well, I don't really see much happening, but I'm going to have faith that there really is, like if you were to talk to the caterpillar in the chrysalis and say, you know what, this isn't going to be your life forever. You're going to be, flying and drinking nectar and having a beautiful life. The caterpillar would be very, I think, doubtful about the whole thing. Like, I can't even move, man. I'm in this tight chrysalis. Well, we are in the tight chrysalis now, this year into next year. So understanding that this is for a purpose, for a reason, having that faith in ourselves, and also really taking the spiritual path seriously. I feel anyone who doesn't have a spiritual path, who doesn't have some kind of a deeper understanding, connection, if like this is all it is, it's very destabilizing to be alive now. And the more we can cultivate our connection to spirit and as spirit, I think the more we'll be prepared to not only endure this time, but also to participate in creating something wonderful together. So that's what we're being summoned and beckoned and called to do. And let's connect to one another. And the last thing I want to say has to do with Saturn and these nodes, the North and South node, our collective destiny, where we're headed, Taurus, where we're coming from, Scorpio. Saturn, it's a crisis. We're having a crisis in consciousness, individually, collectively. And Saturn is the expert. Anyone who feels like they're really needing help, get expert help. This is not the time to try to just like swim through on your own. If you've never taken a canoe down the rapids, don't do it now. You know, these are the rapids. So doing this by ourselves, if we haven't had experience and, you know, haven't had therapy, and if we don't have the tools that we need, get help. Saturn is professional help. It's experts. And many of us could use the help now, because we are in uncharted waters. So it can feel very, very like, whoa, we could be having strange dreams, like, whoa, like, you know, our fears coming out in our dreams as well. So don't hesitate to get expert help. And then the fourth leg of that T-square is Leo, the heart. So whenever, wherever, however, cultivating our hearts, breathing into our hearts, cultivating love, cultivating a conscious expression of love, even maybe if we're not feeling it, to say, I'm going to choose to act in a loving way, to do this loving gesture, to keep choosing the heart. That is a where.
You froze for a sec, Lee.
Okay, how's that better?
Yeah.
So the way of the heart through the T-square, if we're feeling caught, you know, this is fixed energy. This can feel like, any, like I'm moving this way and I feel a little stuck. Well, this month and these next 6 months will unstick any of us who feel stuck. That's the good news. And then just keep in the heart and remember that this too shall pass. And these energies are happening for a reason. So, if anyone has anything more that they would like to share at the end of our time. Oh no, it's 5 o'clock. I don't think we have time.
Okay. No, we do. We have time.
Do we? Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, if people have to go, we want to honor. Are you okay to go a little bit longer, Lee?
Yes, I am.
So I just want to read what Mabel said. Because
Okay.
I think it's so, you had said that in the beginning, I believe before Mabel came on, that we need reassurance we're on the correct path, feeling sometimes alone. She did hear you. That to relate to most people from the past, conscious awakening, like it's trusting our heart and our vibration, that if we're not feeling right with people, even though we think we should, it's time to move on. And that's not easy, but if it doesn't feel right, we're being told something, right?
Yes, very true. In fact, Scorpio is one of the signs.
Oh, we lost you, just lost you.
Libra and Scorpio are the two signs of relationship So many of us are having partings in relationship, people that we were close to, that we've known a long time. We are being prepared for our new tribes. And even though it can feel very disconcerting that the people we've loved are falling away, or we're falling away from them, we're really making space for the next spiral of connections and friends and associates to do our work. It's like we really have to think about what we need to continue our work. And if people are toxic, if they're in any way, you know, energy vampires, it's like we need all of our energy now. And Saturn also is teaching about boundaries. Saturn says you need such good boundaries, or else energy vampires, you know, are very prevalent. They love our juicy light energy, so we have to be mindful of our boundaries as well. And as we keep our light and our energy strong, we are attracting our tribe, who we're going to work with next. So
That's beautiful.
do keep the faith.
Do you guys have questions? Anyone want to talk?
Questions?
And not just talk to us, because I think as we meet monthly, Lee, with this generous offering of yours, is that we are creating our own sangha, our own group. And
Yes.
I think that's really important at this time. So it's more than just, you know, the astrology, which has really felt so good to me and reassuring, because now I get why the deepest wound I have is out, because it's coming up to release. And I think that's so great. It's been hiding under different disguises my whole life. So this is really exciting. You just put a whole different spin on it. I love it. But this is a beautiful group. So I want to thank everyone, and most importantly, Lee, for spearheading this with your incredible just perspective and wisdom and the way you phrase things. I just hope you realize how incredible you are. Really, we're very blessed.
Thank
Just
you.
saying. But does anyone has any questions? Oh, hi, Shira, this was taped. I know you didn't get to hear it all, but oh, are you gone, Shira? Anyway, it was amazing. It'll be up on my site. This whole thing will be up. You know, it's just such incredible information and perspective and guidance. So you could listen to this over and over.
Mhm.
But if anyone just wants to talk to us or to share, speak now.
Yeah.
I have to go. I just want to say I love you, Lee.
I love you, Ariana. Thank you. Wonderful to see you, sweetheart.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And Maria, hi, Dorothy. Maria, do you want to say something, love? Where did you go?
I have been feeling a lot of shifts, but shifts are not uncommon for me. So I didn't peg it to this particular period. And I wasn't feeling the physiological experiences that you are having, that you mentioned. But I have felt a distinct shift recently, and I just put it down to my age, but maybe it's the planets. I have been feeling this distinct shift. And the best way to sum it up is I've never had very strong boundaries. And the latest shift has come really from understanding what it means to have strong boundaries. Because if you never had it, you can talk about boundaries till the cows come home, but you don't know what they are. So the first thing was to find out, well, what does that mean? It's like, how can, you talk about something you've never really known well. So I came to know what it means, and now I'm coming to know what it means to have strong, healthy boundaries, and how that is the core for everything else to happen. Because like what you said, you can't hold and direct and focus your energy. if you don't have strong boundaries.
Right.
So it really is a core trait or skill. In my case, skill, because I have to develop that.
Mm.
And so everything you were saying makes sense to me. So now I'm going to credit the planets. And well, I've been experiencing everything you say, but I'm going to center it around just that part about the boundaries, which have led to a sense of groundedness. And I feel quite firmly now, for the first time in my life, who I am is not a reference to anything or anyone else.
Yes.
So the notion of your own sovereignty.
Yes.
I've experienced that in moments, but now it feels more like something I can take for granted and like a base feeling rather than an exception. Yeah. So it's very nice. It's healthy.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's brought me greater peace. And it's one thing to have peace when everything's going your way. It's another thing to have a sense of peace when very little is going your way. You know? So
yes.
I'm grateful.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for making me really, like I've been feeling it, but I haven't been putting words to it. So putting words to it brings it up here and then allows me to direct it more.
Beautiful.
With greater consciousness. So that's really good.
That's a good point. That was so well said. And thank you for that. That's what you do, Lee. It's there and you think you know it all, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense now, and it makes it more cohesive.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. Anyone else?
I just wanted to say, Lee, was in tears for part of this because you know what I'm going through right now. Everything you said just validates everything that I'm doing right now, that's happening right now. And then May 16th is the cutoff day. That's the day where I'm totally gone from the place I am in now and will be in the new place. And yeah, it's just, I mean, we have to have a private session about this. It is so to the point. I mean, I'm already there. I'm already going through it.
Yes. Beautiful.
Changes. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
So thank you.
Gorgeous. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you. Wow. So special.
Yeah. Wow, right.
You're in a major big move. I'm thrilled for you. Oh,
yeah.
I'm there with you.
And to be doing it at my age also has been a real letting go of old views of what age means and what it is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yay! Dorothy is moving by herself to another state and a new community. And
Wow.
I mean, really just amazing, gorgeous. Just You're right in the flow, Dorothy. If I saw your chart, I would point it, I would find it, but you already found it. So who needs that?
Lee, what's the best place for people? Someone had asked me for, it's your email, right? To set up a reading?
Sure. astrolee108@gmail.com. Astro, Lee, 108@gmail.com. Even if you want me to just get your chart and find out where these eclipses are happening, if you don't want a full reading or you can't afford or whatever, but I'm here to help. And this has been such a joy and such a pleasure. Wow, I feel so full with all of you. And I will close this time just with a reminder of something that James Hillman, one of my favorite psychologists who wrote The Soul's Code, said that he feels like humanity is in the process of actually becoming embodied, and actually bringing spirit and the heavens into the earth, into our knowing that in our bodies, knowing our bodies are the stars, knowing that we are that. And I feel like that's what's happening, that we're becoming embodied. And this Taurus Scorpio polarity very much is that. So it's a beautiful process. And with Uranus, in an instant, something can change. Our consciousness can shift. Something in our life can shift for the better, for the better. And we can literally be free now, not in 2 years and not in 10 years, now. So everyone's on their own timeline, but just know the potential is there for a real clear, sudden awakening that is like there. It doesn't go away.
Lee,
So
when is our next date? I just want everybody to know.
May 28th.
Oh, that's oh no, May 27th. Okay,
May
everybody.
27th.
Yep, that's a Friday.
Mhm.
Write that down, May 27th. And, you know, feel free to reach out to Lee for a reading. What else? Does anyone else want to say anything before we just move on?
Yes, Ava. I think you're muted, sweetheart. Oh, now you're back on mute. Unmute. I don't hear anything. Do you hear Ava?
No, Ava, you're not, Ava's not. Oh, here, let me try to do it for you. There, can you unmute? She's still muted.
We're still in.
Oh, no, she's not. Ava, go ahead. You're not muted now. Just maybe turn your volume up.
Can you turn your volume up?
You're unmuted, but there's a little volume bar. Oh.
What we do? Oh.
You could type something in the chat.
That's beautiful. That was beautiful, Taurus, right there. You just used your body to express it all, and I got it. Thank you. What a lovely, beautiful community of women. Well, I love you all. Thank you so much for spending this precious time together. What we create together, we carry with us through the day. So I hope we feel that we carry, we're together through these days. We're not alone. And I wish you all the best, wonderful awakenings, wonderful letting goes, and whatever help you need, that you get it, that you ask for it, and I'm here.
Thank you, Lee.
Bye, loves.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.